she gets a better view for you, which is why she's called red-tailed hawk. You see the rusty red tail, it has a little black band at the tip. That is one of the field marks you'd look for when you see a red-tailed hawk in the wild. And another one you can see at this time of year, if they're sitting facing you, is the brown dots on her chest that make a band around her belly. So, in addition to that, if you can't see the red tail in the lighting, you might get to see on her very back. Can you see like a light pattern of feathers that almost makes a V on her wings and back? That's another thing you could see. We saw several of these along the highway of Route 3 coming over here today. What does a red-tailed hawk sound like? Well, a lot of people don't think it sounds like the bird you recognize here because Hollywood likes to dub the red-tailed hawk call into the bald eagle in many of their movies and shows. So I'm going to play its call for you. It's a series of notes that go down the scale, keer, versus what the real bald eagle sounds like. So the red-tailed hawk sounds like this. Then I'll play the eagle's call so you can see what the two compare to be like. So here's what red-tailed hawk would sound like. Keer down the scale. It's like, who's in my territory? So many of you may have thought that was a bald eagle. Here is what the real bald eagle sounds like. It's kind of a squeaky wheel is the best way to describe its sound. So that's a real bald eagle, but Hollywood would have you think the red-tailed hawk's call was the bald eagle since they dub it in. So what is the habitat for a red-tailed hawk? Oh, go ahead.
Nest.
They do live in a nest only when they're raising a baby, so their nest is only a nursery in their habitat somewhere at the edge of the woods. But they have to hunt somewhere else.
A tree.
They might perch in a tree, but
Open plains.
open fields and meadows, and oh yeah, she did the bathroom thing, but birds don't have toilets like we do they? So we can't say, oh, we'll go in the back room and use the bathroom. And they're not like a litter box train thing too, but thank you guys for not laughing too loud, because first graders usually go crazy when I'm and fifth graders as well. So she is a female, large bird, and male and female would both hunt in the same habitat, which is meadow, open fields, and since our roadsides are just like that, open fields, meadow-like habitat right next to forests, perfect place for them to hunt. So you often see them along the edge of the highways or farm fields, and they will nest in a large, medium to large size tree, about 15 to 30 or so feet up into the tree in the crotch, and make a stick nest. They eat mice and rats and birds up to the size of a crow, and they will also eat squirrels and mammals up to that size. And in the summertime, they love adding snakes to their diet. And one year, and well, the snakes do have a good job though, because they help control the mice in areas that they may not have hawks. And so if we didn't have predators like the owls, the hawks, and the snakes at the top of the food chain, we would have an unbalanced system, and we might have too many of the prey animals running around and kind of doing our farms and our houses in. But she would eat all those things, and then because she is a red-tailed hawk and hunts out in the open, you may often see them circling around up above. Most birds don't have a sense of smell, except for our turkey vultures. So when someone says, oh, well, don't pet the baby bird because its mom's going to abandon it, that's not because the bird can smell. It's because you stayed near the nest so long that you kept mom and dad from keeping baby warm and feeding it. So it may have got sick that way and then been abandoned when it was about to die, versus it smelled the human scent on it. So most birds are not going to be able to even tell a human scent is nearby. Questions you'd like to ask about red-tailed hawks? Yes?
Do they have like a layer of down underneath?
They have flight feathers on their wings, and then they have outer feathers and then down feathers underneath that.
Kind of see a little
So the down feathers keep you warm and the other feathers keep you dry. And they also have a oil gland at the base of their back that's kind of like the shape of a heart, and they squeeze that with their beak. If anybody's had a parakeet or a duck, you've probably seen them do that. They grab the lower part of their back and squeeze, and then they bring it out and wipe it onto whatever it is they're touching, their feathers, and it helps make them waterproof. So when you hear the saying like water off of a duck's back, it's not just doing it because the feathers are there, it's because they've wiped the oil on their feathers and it comes off that way. Red-tailed hawk would be the same way. Water gets on it, it beads and rolls off its back.